This video works miracles. Listen for one night and everything will come to you effortlessly, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a moment that may very well become the quiet turning point of your life. You did not arrive here by accident. Something within you, something far deeper than logic, deeper than chance, guided you to this exact message at this exact time because you are standing on the edge of a powerful shift. The world you have been living in, the circumstances you have been tolerating, and the dreams you have been quietly carrying are all about to move. Not through force, not through struggle, but through a change so subtle, so effortless, that it will feel like a miracle. Tonight is not about doing more. It is not about fixing yourself, proving yourself, or pushing harder. Tonight is about allowing something ancient and powerful to awaken inside you. The truth is, everything you desire, love, abundance, peace, success, healing, recognition, is not somewhere outside of you waiting to be earned. It already exists. It is already real. And the only reason it has not yet appeared in your life is because you have not yet fully accepted it as yours. Most people are exhausted because they are trying to change the world. But the world is not meant to be changed from the outside. It is meant to be shifted from within. When you change what you assume to be true about yourself, the entire universe responds. This is the law that has governed creation since the beginning of time, whether people are aware of it or not. Your life today is simply a mirror of the beliefs you have been carrying in silence. But something extraordinary happens when the mind begins to relax. Something magical happens when you stop struggling and start surrendering to a new story. When you listen to words that gently guide you into a new identity, a new expectation, a new sense of what is possible, the deepest part of you begins to listen, and that part has the power to move mountains. That is why this night is special. As you listen, you are not being asked to convince yourself of anything. You are not being asked to visualize for hours or repeat affirmations with effort. You are being invited to simply feel what it would be like if everything you wanted was already on its way. You are being invited to rest in the certainty that the universe is not against you. It is responding to you. Every breakthrough you have ever admired in others was born from a quiet inner decision, a decision that said, this is who I am now. This is what I accept. This is what I allow. And once that decision was made, the world rearranged itself to match it. Tonight, you are making that decision. You are choosing to let go of the old story, the story of struggle, waiting, disappointment, and doubt. You are choosing to step into a new identity, the one who expects good things, who attracts opportunities, who naturally receives without chasing. And as you listen, as your body relaxes and your mind softens, something beautiful will happen. The barriers you didn't even know you were carrying will begin to dissolve. The old limitations will lose their grip. And in their place, a quiet, powerful knowing will rise. A knowing that says, it is done. It is happening. It is mine. So settle in. Breathe deeply. Let go of the day. Let go of the past. And allow this moment to become the night where everything begins to change. When the world finally grows quiet and the noise of the day fades, something sacred opens inside you. This is the hour when your outer identity loosens its grip, when the thinking mind releases control, and when the deeper part of you, the part that creates reality, steps forward. Most people think sleep is simply rest, but in truth, it is the gateway between who you have been and who you are becoming. Every night, without realizing it. You walk through this doorway and plant the seeds of tomorrow. The reason this night is different is because you are choosing to step through that doorway consciously. You are not drifting into sleep by accident. You are entering it with intention, with awareness, with the quiet understanding that something new is being installed within you. The moment you begin to relax, the mind stops arguing. It stops questioning. It stops protecting old beliefs. And in that gentle openness, whatever you accept becomes your new truth. Your entire life has been shaped by what you have assumed to be real about yourself. The world you see is not objective, it is personal. It is the reflection of your inner agreement about who you are, what you deserve, and what is possible for you. When you go to sleep, that agreement becomes most flexible. It is no longer locked in by habit or repetition. It becomes soft, receptive, ready to be rewritten. This is why one night can change everything. When you listen as you drift towards sleep, you are not just hearing words. You are receiving a new identity. You are absorbing a new story about yourself. The deeper mind does not analyze or resist. It simply accepts. And once it accepts something as true, the world has no choice but to conform to it. You have spent years being told who you are by family, by society, by experiences that taught you what to expect. Those stories were written without your permission, yet you have been living by them every day. But tonight, for the first time, you are consciously choosing what you will believe. You are choosing the story of someone for whom things work out, someone who is supported, someone who is guided, someone who receives with ease. As your body relaxes and your breath slows, the old version of you begins to dissolve. The one who worried, who doubted, who waited for proof. In its place, a new version emerges, the one who quietly knows that what they desire is already arranged, knows that life is moving in their favor, knows that they no longer have to struggle to be worthy. This knowing is not loud. It does not demand attention. It feels calm, natural, familiar. And that is how you recognize truth, not by force, but by resonance. The moment you fall asleep in this state, the subconscious mind takes over. It does not sleep, walk. It continues to receive, to build, to organize. It begins aligning your thoughts, your reactions, your timing, and even the behavior of others to match this new assumption. You do not have to manage this. Wow. You do not have to supervise it. It happens automatically because that is how reality works. People will speak to you differently. Opportunities will appear unexpectedly. Things that once felt blocked will suddenly open, and you will not feel surprised because somewhere inside you, you already knew it would happen. This is what it means to live from the end. To rest in the feeling that what you want is already secured, not in imagination, but in identity. You are not trying to become someone new. You are remembering who you truly are beneath all the old programs. As you listen, the voice becomes the inner voice. The suggestions become beliefs. The atmosphere becomes your inner world. And because the inner world creates the outer, you are not just listening to a video, you are reshaping your destiny. There is no need to visualize. There is no need to concentrate. Simply allowing yourself to feel relaxed, safe, and supported is enough. That feeling is the signal. It tells the deeper mind, this is who I am now. And that signal is more powerful than any effort. When you wake up, you may not feel dramatically different, but something subtle will have shifted. A quiet confidence, a soft expectation, a sense that things are lining up, even if you cannot yet see how. That feeling is the new blueprint. That is the future being pulled toward you. Every miracle begins as an assumption. Every breakthrough begins as an inner agreement. And tonight, as you surrender to rest, you are making the most powerful agreement of all, that life is working for you, not against you. The world will follow, because it always does. You are not here to create something that does not exist. You are here to remember what is already yours. Every desire you have ever felt was not placed in you to tease you or test you. It was placed there because somewhere in a version of reality that already exists, that desire is fulfilled. What you are truly doing when you want something is not asking for it. You are being called toward the version of yourself who already has it. This is the great secret most people never realize. Life is not moving forward. It is responding. It is echoing back to you the state of being you are currently occupying. The moment you shift who you believe yourself to be, you shift the version of the world you experience. And this shift does not require effort. It requires recognition. Right now, there is a version of you who is confident, loved, supported, successful, peaceful, abundant, and deeply fulfilled. That version is not in the future. It exists now. You simply have not tuned into it yet. Just as a radio can only play one station at a time, your consciousness can only experience one identity at a time. When you change the station, the music changes. When you change your inner self concept, your outer reality changes. This is why you are not manifesting. You are selecting. You are choosing which version of yourself you will embody. When you listen to this, when you relax into these words, you are allowing your frequency to shift. You are gently letting go of the version of you that was shaped by lack, struggle, and waiting. And in that letting go, the version of you who already has everything begins to take its place. The world you see is simply a reflection of what you believe about yourself. If you believe you are overlooked, you will experience being ignored. If you believe you must struggle, life will give you reasons to struggle. But if you quietly assume you are favored, supported, and chosen, the world will begin to treat you that way. This is not because the universe is judging you. It is because the universe is mirroring you. Every time you listen while relaxed, you are not trying to change anything outside. You are allowing the inside to realign. And once that realignment happens, the outer must follow. It cannot resist. Reality has no choice but to match the identity you occupy. This is why forcing things never works. Force comes from the identity of someone who does not yet have. When you try to make something happen, you are affirming that it is not here. But when you simply become the person for whom it is natural, it begins to show up effortlessly. Think of how someone who expects good things moves through life. They are not tense. They are not desperate. They do not beg or chase. They assume, they expect, they allow. And because they live from that inner position, the world keeps confirming it. You are learning to live from that same place. When you lie down and listen, your body relaxes, your breathing slows, your nervous system softens, And in that softened state, the old identity begins to loosen. The inner arguments, the doubts, the stories of why things are hard, all of them start to fade. What remains is a quiet openness. And that openness is where new reality enters. This is where remembering happens. You are not trying to become worthy. You are remembering that you always were. You are not trying to become successful. You are remembering that abundance is your natural state. You are not trying to become love. You are remembering that love is who you are. As you remember, the outer world responds. People begin to treat you differently. Opportunities begin to find you. Things that once felt impossible start to feel normal. And you might wonder, why now? The answer is simple. Because you finally aligned with the version of you who lives in that reality. Your desires are not separate from you. They are coordinate. They point you to the reality you are meant to experience. When you feel pulled towards something, it is because that version of you is calling you home. Listening at night makes this even more powerful. When the conscious mind quiets, the deeper self takes the lead. It does not need logic, it does not need proof. It responds to feeling, to expectation, to identity. When you drift into sleep, feeling that things are working out, that feeling becomes your new baseline. From that baseline, everything changes. You will notice you react differently. You think differently. You make choices you would not have made before. You attract people who resonate with this new version of you. None of this feels forced. It feels natural because it is. This is what alignment truly means. The old you was aligned with waiting. The new you is aligned with receiving. The old you is aligned with hoping. The new you is aligned with knowing. And knowing is power. When you know something is yours, you do not worry about it. You do not obsess over it. You do not fear losing it. You move as if it is already part of your life, and that movement signals to reality what to deliver. As this knowing settles in, you may notice a calm confidence rising, a sense that you are supported, a feeling that things are lining up, even if you cannot yet see how. That feeling is not imagination, it is recognition. You are recognizing the version of you who already lives in the life you desire. And as you continue to listen, to relax, to allow, that recognition becomes stronger. It becomes more stable. It becomes who you are. When that happens, the world has no choice but to follow. Everything you will ever experience is born from a single invisible moment. The moment you decide that something is already done, not when it happens, not when you see proof, but when you internally accept that it is finished. This is the hidden doorway through which all outcomes enter your life. The world you walk through each day is simply the echo of what you have already assumed to be true. Most people wait for reality to change before they believe, but the deeper law works in reverse. You believe first, you accept first, you assume first, and then the world rearranges itself to reflect that inner conclusion. This is what is meant by the assumed ending. It is not wishful thinking. It is a quiet inner knowing that the story has already reached its conclusion. Think about something you already own. You don't check on it. You don't worry about it. You don't ask if it will come. You move through life knowing it is yours. That same emotional neutrality, that same calm certainty, is the state that creates everything else. When you can feel that same natural ownership about your desire, you have reached the end. And the end is where creation begins. The moment you stop trying to make something happen, and start knowing it has happened, a powerful shift takes place inside you. The tension leaves, the urgency dissolves, the need to control fades. The need to control fades. What replaces it is quiet confidence. That confidence is not passive. It is commanding. It tells the deeper mind, this is the new reality. And the deeper mind obeys. This is why effort does not create results. Identity does. When you identify as someone who is still waiting, reality gives you reasons to wait. When you identify as someone who already has, reality begins to deliver. The assumed ending is simply the act of moving into the identity of fulfillment. You do not imagine a future. You inhabit a present. When you listen in this relaxed state, you are not asking for anything. You are letting the feeling of completion wash over you. You are allowing yourself to feel what it would be like if the desire was no longer a desire, but a fact. And in that feeling, the subconscious receives its instructions. The subconscious does not create from words. It creates from states of being. When you feel done, it treats the matter as done. It begins shifting circumstances, influencing people, aligning timing, and opening pathways you could never plan consciously. You do not see this happening. You do not need to. You only need to remain in the state of the fulfilled self. This is why the how does not matter. The how belongs to the old identity that doubts. The fulfilled identity does not care how. It only knows what. And that knowing is enough. When you lie down at night and allow yourself to sink into the feeling that it is finished, something profound occurs. The body relaxes because there is nothing to chase. The mind quiets because there is nothing to solve. And in that stillness, the new reality is planted. You fall asleep as the person who already received. That state carries into your dream. It carries into your nervous system. It carries into the next day. You begin to walk, speak, and choose as someone for whom things work out. That is not an act. It is a reflection of who you believe yourself to be. And because you are no longer acting from lack, you stop sending signals of need into the world. Instead, you send signals of expectancy. The world reads those signals and responds accordingly. People will call you at the right moment. Opportunities will appear unexpectedly. Problems will resolve in ways you never anticipate. And you will realize that it all feels natural, as if it was always meant to happen this way. That is because, in a deeper sense, it was. The assumed ending is not pretending. It is remembering. It is remembering the version of you who already lives in the outcome. When you step into that version, you collapse the distance between now and then. Time is not a barrier. It is an illusion created by belief. When you believe something is far away, it appears far away. When you believe it is here, it begins to show up. The inner decision is the only real decision. You may notice moments where doubt tries to return. That is simply the old identity asking to be acknowledged. You do not fight it. You gently return to the feeling of done. You return to the inner posture of ownership. And each time you do, you reinforce the new reality. This is how the shift stabilizes. You are not forcing the universe to give you something. You are aligning with the universe that already has it for you. The assumed ending is the key that unlocks that alignment. When you feel it is inevitable, it becomes unavoidable. When you feel it is finished, it becomes factual. When you feel it is yours, it begins to arrive. Not because you begged for it, not because you worked for it, but because you accepted it. And acceptance is creation. When you close your eyes at night, you are not leaving the world. You are entering the control room of creation. The waking mind, the part of you that questions, analyzes, and resists, slowly powers down. And as it does, something far more powerful comes online. The deeper self, the part that shapes reality, becomes open, receptive, and ready to receive instruction. This is why what you listen to, feel, and assume while drifting into sleep is more influential than anything you do during the day. During waking hours, you are surrounded by noise. Opinions, memories, worries, doubts, expectations. All of it builds a wall between what you desire and what you accept as possible. But at night, that wall dissolves. The guard goes to sleep. The door opens. The door opens. And whatever enters during that state moves straight into the subconscious, where beliefs are formed and reality is designed. Resistance is not something you consciously choose. It is a protective habit. The mind clings to what it already knows because it feels safe, even if it is painful. This is why change feels hard when you try to force it. The mind pushes back. It argues. It doubts. It looks for reasons why it won't work. That is resistance. But while you sleep, resistance has no power. The part of you that says this is impossible grows quiet. The part of you that asks, what if it fails, relaxes. And in that stillness, new ideas can take root without being challenged. This is why listening while drifting off is so effective. You are bypassing the gatekeeper and speaking directly to the part of you that creates your world. You are not trying to convince yourself. You are allowing yourself to be reprogrammed. As your body becomes heavy and your breathing slows, your brain shifts into a softer state. In this state, the subconscious becomes highly suggestible. It accepts what it hears and feels as truth. It does not filter. It does not analyze. It simply absorbs. This is the same state you were in as a child when beliefs about yourself and the world were first formed. That is why one night can undo years of limitation. When you listen with your eyes closed, your nervous system begins to relax. Tension melts away, and with that tension goes the emotional charge of old stories. The ones that said you have to struggle. The ones that said you are not enough. The ones that said life is hard. Those stories lose their grip because they are no longer being fed by attention. In their place, new assumptions enter. Assumptions of ease, assumptions of worthiness, assumptions of support. And because the subconscious is the part of you that controls perception, behavior, and expectation, those assumptions begin to shape everything you experience. You wake up thinking different thoughts. You respond differently to situations. You expect different outcomes. Not because you forced yourself to, but because something inside you has changed. This is why people say things suddenly just happen for them. It is not luck. It is alignment. Their inner world shifted and the outer world followed. Night is the bridge between reality. When you go to sleep, you leave behind the identity of the day, the worries, the disappointments, the effort. And you enter a space where anything can be rewritten. The subconscious does not know time. It does not know history. It only knows what you feel to be true now. When you fall asleep, feeling supported, you begin living in a supported world. When you fall asleep feeling chosen, you begin living in a world that chooses you. When you fall asleep feeling that things are working out, life begins to arrange itself in your favor. This is not imagination. This is instruction. You are instructing the deeper mind what reality to build. Most people are doing this unconsciously, repeating the same worries every night, reinforcing the same fears before sleep, and then they wake up to the same patterns. But you are choosing something different. You are choosing to feed your mind a new story at the exact moment it is most open to receiving it. That is power. You do not have to fight your thoughts. You do not have to argue with doubt. You simply let them fade as you relax. The voice you are listening to becomes the dominant influence. And as it speaks of ease, success, love, and alignment, your inner world begins to mirror it. The old resistance dissolves because it is no longer being activated. And once resistance is gone, creation is effortless. This is why miracles feel sudden. They are not sudden in origin. They were planted quietly, invisibly, in moments like this, in nights where someone allowed themselves to relax into a new assumption. As you continue to listen night after night, this new inner state becomes your default. It becomes who you are. And when something is who you are, it no longer feels like a miracle when it shows up. It feels normal. You stop being surprised by good things. You start expecting them. And expectation is the magnet. When you expect something, you are already aligned with it. You are already emotionally in the reality where it exists. And that emotional alignment is what draws the physical experience toward you. So while you sleep, you are not just resting. You are calibrating. You are tuning yourself to the frequency of the life you desire. The mind is quiet. The body is relaxed. The deeper self is listening. And in that sacred silence, the old world fades and the new one begins to take shape. The moment you open your eyes after a night like this, you are not stepping back into the same world. You may be in the same room, the same body, the same schedule, but something invisible has shifted. And because reality always follows what is invisible first, everything that appears in the coming days will begin to move in a new direction. You wake up carrying a subtle expectation, not excitement, not anxiety, just a quiet sense that things are different now, that something has already been decided. That is not imagination. That is the echo of a new inner agreement. When your subconscious accepts a new identity, it does not announce it with fireworks. It simply changes what you expect from life. And expectation is everything. What you expect determines what you notice. What you notice determines what you act on. What you act on determines what unfolds. The old version of you expected delays, obstacles, disappointment, silence. So life kept giving you reasons to believe those expectations were true. But the new version of you expects alignment, movement, and favorable outcomes. And because the mind is now tuned to that, it begins spotting opportunities, interpreting events differently, and responding in ways that open doors. You will not have to try to be different. You will be different. You may notice that people speak to you in a warmer tone, that messages arrive unexpectedly, that ideas seem to come at the perfect moment, that solutions appear where problems used to be. None of this will feel forced. It will feel natural, as if reality is finally flowing instead of resisting. That is because the resistance was never outside of you. The outer world was simply reflecting the inner friction you were carrying. But now that friction has been replaced with certainty, not loud certainty, not arrogant certainty, but a gentle knowing that says, things are working out for me. This knowing changes everything. You will walk into rooms with a different energy. You will make decisions with a different confidence. You will stop second guessing and start trusting. And people respond to that energy. Opportunities respond to that energy. Life itself responds to that energy because life is not reacting to your words. It is reacting to your state of being. The old state was one of waiting. The new state is one of expectation. And when you expect, you are already aligned with the outcome. You may still have thoughts that reflect the old story. That is normal. They are simply echoes of a past identity. You do not need to fight them. You do not need to analyze them. You simply return to the feeling that things are already in motion, that what you desire is inevitable. And every time you return to that feeling, you strengthen the new reality. The day after this night may not look dramatically different on the surface, but beneath the surface, 1,000 small shifts are happening. Conversations you are not part of yet, decisions being made in your favor, paths opening that will soon intersect with yours. You do not need to know about any of this for it to be happening. You simply need to remain in the state of quiet expectation. That state tells the deeper mind we are already on the winning timeline, and the deeper mind organizes everything accordingly. This is why chasing never works. Chasing says it is not here, but expecting says it is on its way. And what you assume to be true becomes the truth you live. You will notice a new ease in your body, a lightness, a feeling that you do not have to push so hard. That ease is not laziness, it is alignment. When you are aligned with what is coming, you no longer feel the urge to force it. You simply allow it. And allowing is powerful. You will also notice that you react differently when things do not go exactly as planned. You will feel less threatened, less anxious, more patient, because somewhere inside you, you know the bigger picture is working in your favor. That inner calm is not passive, it is magnetic. People are drawn to it. Opportunities move toward it. Solutions emerge from it because calm confidence is the signal of someone who expects to receive. As this new identity settles in, you will begin to live from a different inner posture. You will stop asking, will it happen? And start asking, how will I enjoy it when it does? That subtle shift is everything. It moves you from doubt to ownership. Ownership changes how you move. Ownership changes how you speak. Ownership changes what you tolerate. And because you now see yourself as someone who is meant to receive, you will no longer settle for what does not match that truth. You will walk away from things that drain you. You will say yes to things that expand you. You will trust your intuition more. And that intuition is not random. It is the voice of the version of you who already lives in the reality you desire, guiding you toward it step by step. This is how the new world reveals itself, not all at once, but perfectly timed. You will look back and realize that everything that happened after this night was quietly leading you where you wanted to go. Even the things that seemed like delays or detours were simply reroutes, guiding you to something better. That is what happens when your inner state changes. Life becomes cooperative. You do not have to convince anyone. You do not have to prove anything. You do not have to chase what is meant for you. It will come because you are no longer the person who waits. You are the person who expects. And what you expect is what reality delivers.